Hello everyone, welcome back to Landric Plays and episode 2 of Let's Play Banished. So last episode we just got started. We showed up here with our little cart full of supplies in this sort of fairly snowy clearing, and we've decided to sort of construct our first little bit of our settlement over here. We are creating a little wooded forestry sort of community here. So we've got some houses. We've got quite some big families actually here. We're going to probably have to expand out quite soon. We've also got some sort of gatherers, some hunters. We're sort of living off the land at the minute. And later on we're probably going to expand to, I think I said I was going to put another sort of similar sort of community up here, maybe one down here. And then at some point we're going to start constructing our actual town. In fact, you know, I might put the first one here because we sort of cleared away a lot of the sort of trees and stuff in the way. The mountain will probably take up a little... So let's have a look actually, let's plan some of this out. So if we grab the market. So the market is used by citizens, so the cart's in the way at the minute. But the market is used basically to store goods. It's like a storage barn, except somebody will work at the market and they will collect... Let's put this down for now. So the market will... a vendor will work at the market and they'll sort of come down here. They'll pick up all of the goods that have been stockpiled in the barn and they'll put it in the market so that it's closer to everyone's homes, so they have to sort of walk less and they can spend more time doing actual proper work and building up the town. So this little radius you've got around the market here, I keep sort of pointing at the screen to try and show you what I mean, and that's not really helpful, but this sort of like the orange circle around this market is the radius in which people will prefer to collect their goods from the market. So basically we want to surround the market with houses. So what I might do... See, I could put it here, but a lot of it's taken up by this mountain range and this river here, so I might just try and squeeze it on the edge here, and then later on... So it's still sort of taken up... It doesn't matter if it's, like, perfect. So we could do something like that. And then we can have sort of just a very small sort of community here. I'll pause it for now, because we're not quite ready for it yet. But then we can put down some more sort of infrastructure and industry and some more sort of high density sort of things, right? Here we want to keep things sort of very, very sparse just because we need these woods around to make these buildings actually productive. So like obviously the forestry, but also the gatherer and the hunter will do much better in a sort of nicely forested thing. Over here we sort of want to cram in as many houses and buildings as we can because we want lots of people to have jobs, we want lots of people to have homes obviously, and we want them to have sort of very short walking times between them all. So cramming everything in here would be quite a nice idea. So yeah, it does sort of, like I say, it wastes a little bit of space because this river and this mountain here, but it's not the end of the world, and you know, we'll just build another market over here and have the two linked up. So yeah, so maybe we'll sort of start with this small sort of community here. We'll put down a blacksmith and a tailor to get our tools and coats, because it is winter right now. We're just at the end of the first year, and we are running a little bit low on coats. Hopefully, if we check the hunting cabin, we can click this button here, and that will show us what we've hunted for the current season and the previous season. This building's only been up for one season though, so nothing was gathered last season. So you can see we've got plenty of food and also a couple of bits of leather. So if we put down a tailor over here somewhere, then people will start stitching together those leather things into coats. And I think we're also going to want a blacksmith as well. So... Do you know what, I'm going to plan... So I was saying earlier, I don't want to actually keep this game paused too long, because otherwise, you know, I sort of will put down a bunch of stuff and then we just have to sit and wait for ages and ages while it gets going. But I like planning these things out, so I'm going to sort of... just going to plan this road out here, just so I've got an idea of where everything will line up. We'll do something like that. So this will delay our builders a little bit, but you know, it's not the end of the world. I like having an idea of where everything's going to be, and then we'll probably have a bridge going across here, or actually probably across here, because I think the river's slightly thinner there, so it'll use a couple less resources. And then what do we want? So we wanted some town services. No, that's things like books and hospitals, and books, libraries and schools and hospitals and that kind of thing. What we want is resources and production, there we go. So we want a blacksmith, because we've only got 7 tools left and tools break quite quickly. So the sooner we get people making new tools, the more productive everyone will be. If ever their tools break, then generally you're in a little bit of trouble because everyone starts working very, very slowly. It's particularly bad, obviously, if your blacksmith doesn't have any tools. Let's see, can we... So again, this is going to take up some of the radius that we could be using for the market, but, you know, it's not the end of the world. We've not got that many houses yet. We'll put a house here as well, just so that the blacksmith has somewhere to live. And I think I am going to have these constructed straight away, actually. So one thing I might do is put down a little stockpile as well, just so they've got some somewhere to keep some of the other resources. Can I fit it in here? So there's the road, and that's going to go across there. So how big can I put a stockpile here? Not very, just because of the way it's sort of curved. Alright, well, we'll just put one in the corner here. It's fine. In fact, I might even just use this whole bit here and have quite a large stockpile. Because later on, when we go and build over here, we'll want some resources quite close, so we can sort of hop across, build stuff, and so on. Yeah, that'll do nicely. I tell you what, while we're doing that, we'll connect this road up here. So bring that out like here, like this, and then... So it's quite angular at the minute, but if we hold shift... so we can't actually put the road directly over that, but we can do this. And then sort of over the other side we'll connect one up there, and we'll connect one up here, why not? So hopefully that will make sort of walking this way a little bit quicker. And there we go. See, now we're just playing the waiting game again. One of the things I basically constantly do in this game is I'll spend most of my time paused and sort of planning stuff out, and I'm going to really try hard not to do that this time. So we've still got to finish this storage barn, actually, and that'll let us remove this cart. They'll have to do a little bit of walking back and forth to move everything from the cart into the barn, and technically I don't know if we'll be able to access anything in it during that time. I think it'll be fine. I think they move everything out first, but they have to move it out before it can be used. They can't just grab stuff from it while it's being deconstructed, which is a bit of a shame. So I think we'll wait until we've got everything actually set up before we start deconstructing this. I don't want to have people running about too much. Actually, that's not a bad point. So it is late winter now, so it should start getting warmer. It's -1 degrees right now. And it is snowing quite heavily. There we go, early spring. It's still very cold, because it is only early spring. But a lot of the time, particularly if you're starting a construction project sort of very far away from all of your houses, people can get very cold walking to and from them. So we don't want that happening too much. I do love the snow effect when you sort of zoom in and out through the snow, the way it just sort of almost sort of hovers in the air for a little second. There we go, all of the sort of trees are nice and leafy now. So we are still low on wood, so I'm gonna tell my one labourer to come and cut down some of these trees here as well. So I think all of these are these... No, they're not designated to be cut. So we'll get to them in a minute. Once we've added some more foresters here, then we'll probably start getting a little bit more wood generated. And of course, winter has just finished, so we're very low on firewood, because all winter people have been sort of burning firewood and stuff. So our woodcutter is basically immediately taking any new wood and chopping it to build up a reserve. But, you know, probably they'll build the reserve up quite quickly, or hopefully so. And that means that... Okay, they've run out of wood now. But eventually when they get up to the limit, I think the limit's 200, then they'll stop, they'll go back to being a labourer, they'll cut down some more trees, and the rest of the logs will get put to use for construction projects. Yes, so the other thing is our builders are probably a little bit distracted by putting down all of these roads, which isn't a fantastic use of their time, but actually, in the long run, it's going to save a little bit of time going from here to here. It's a shame we can't put a road over this bit. Some of the bigger mountains, like these ones for example, we can put tunnels under, but they're quite big construction projects. I mean, so we could put one, say, through here when we do this sort of second community this way. Speaking of which, we could start setting some of that up, but I do want this blacksmith down first. Just because tools are quite important, and we are running low. We're going to need a tailor as well, actually. We are sort of running out of clothes. There's so many things that we need to do is the problem. Let's put down a tailor as well. So I'm not going to construct this yet. I definitely want them to focus on that blacksmith. Should I put them back to back? Yeah, we'll just pop it there. Oh wait, hang on. Let's pause that. There we go. And the house. There we go. We can sort of fit this house in here, so we can put a road going through. I think I am going to let the house be constructed, just because. Whoop, there we go. Whoop, just because that I kind of want the I want the population to sort of keep growing. We've got actually no, I don't. Not right now. I was going to say we've got some stored food, but we don't. There's plenty in people's houses still, so I'm not panicking, but I'm not sure we have enough to support any more growth yet. So we do have some extra labourers as well, though, which is good. That will speed things along, and then I'll probably put them into the gatherer's hut. In fact, one of them I'm going to put in now. And the hunting cabin? Go back down to 1 labourer? No, I think I'll leave it as 2 labourers, just so this wood gets cut and we can start building other stuff relatively quickly. Because the labourers are also going to be kept busy moving goods and resources around and things like that. What do we want to do next? I think I might put down a second gatherer's hut, actually. Just that way. So how many have we got here? So we've got 3, so they'll sort of spread themselves out, and I think having a gatherer's hut here with 2 people and one over here with 2 people will be more productive than having one with 4 people. Other than things like walking time and stuff, but that's not such a big problem. Ah, see, somebody here has already lost their tool. So there's 1 left. Hopefully they're going to go and grab it. But then we really do need this blacksmith up and running. So I'm going to pause this house as well, actually, just so that the resources don't get split between them, so they sort of focus all of the stuff in here. What are we missing? We're missing... So we've got plenty of iron stored. We are actually very low on stone. Right, let's designate some more of that. There's stacks around here. So we'll just collect all of this stone. Oh, there's loads of it here as well. So we might have a little tricky period where some people run out of tools, but hopefully we'll get it going before it comes to that, and even if it does come to that, it won't be the end of the world. We'll muddle along until the blacksmith is up and running. How much stored wood have we got? We've got 100 stored firewood, so you know what? I'm going to take that labour away and get them to start cutting on this stone as well. Hopefully we'll be able to put them back sort of around autumn time, or the end of autumn rather, because it is late summer now, and we do, well, again, all the homes should have, yeah, they've got some firewood in, and we've got 100 stored, so it's not vital that they constantly keep chopping. I mean, it'd be nice, we always want to maintain basically a full reserve if we can help it, but right now we need to focus on getting that done. While they're doing that, is there anything else I need to worry about? So, stone, iron, it's full of iron, that's fine. We need obviously a reserve of iron to make the tools out of, and I think we need logs as well to act as fuel for the blacksmith. So we'll probably want to up our forestry as well soon, so we are going to need this sort of second community over here, sort of working on that. So I'll start by putting down, what was it? I'll start by putting down the forestry, because, I don't know, I just like starting with that one. It gives a nice overview of the circles that we've got. So we've got there, and so if we put something about here, that'll line up nicely. So again, I'll pop that down, pause it, because we don't want to sort of divert resources away from it yet. And then we'll probably just basically mirror this setup here, probably with slightly fewer houses. And I might not bother with the storage barn, they can just walk down and store things here. I'll probably keep the stockpile though. So where were we? We want a hunter's cabin, so that'll line up there. Pause that. It's driving me crazy. Normally I would pause to do this, but because it's driving me crazy that I can't see what my people are doing in the meantime. Like, what if everything's gone horribly wrong? I'm sure it's probably fine. In fact, we've got a couple more people graduated or grown up and have become labourers, which is good. There we go. And I should probably put a road out there at some point, but I don't need to worry about that now. So I said I didn't want the storage barn, so we've got those 3 buildings. Let's put down 2 houses, one either side. Again, we don't really want to encourage population growth super fast until we're at least a little bit more settled with food. But equally, we need it at some point. Okay. There we go. Just tuck that in there as well. And that'll do nicely. So, are you nearly done? Nearly done. So you've got enough stone in the stockpile now that you should be able to build this. There we go. So all the resources are there. Now they just have to actually go and do some build work on it. It sort of sucks that... Are you a builder? Yeah, so you're one of our builders, and you're missing a tool, which is a bit of a shame. So you're actually going to build it slightly slower. But, you know, we'll deal with that. Right, let's just see how they get along. So it is winter now, or well, it's late autumn, but it is starting to snow. So again, we are going to have to keep an eye on the firewood situation and probably put somebody back here soonish. But I do want all of these logs to be used for probably constructing this. Oh, we got stacks of food now though. So yeah, I tell you what, I'm going to put somebody back there. I'm going to unpause this house as well. Obviously the builders, or hopefully the builders, are going to prioritise working on this to start with because, you know, all of the resources are actually there. But there is 4 of them. They can split the jobs between them if need be. Eventually we're going to want to run a road over here, and we're going to put down a stockpile as well. Here we go. Hopefully this is going to be just sort of a very nice relaxing stream. We're not going to need to worry about... or a series, I should say, not a stream. But hopefully it's going to be nice and relaxing, and we're just going to sort of watch our people sort of go about their daily lives. So we're definitely short on tools now, and this is going to be a growing problem until we get this done. Oh, they didn't prioritise that, they just put all of the goods here. So where are my builders? So if we click this button here, we'll jump between them. So what are they doing? You're idling. Why are you idling? Okay, now you're working. You're working. You're working, and you're working. Okay, so they are all working now. What are they working on? So you're working on this one, you're working on this. I suppose because we've got 4 builders and they sort of split evenly between them, or I hope they do. Doesn't help that you haven't got a tool, so this sort of project is going to take longer to do anyway, and I think it takes more work. So yeah, this takes 30 build time, and this takes 90 build time. But you see, we've put a house down and 2 people have immediately moved in. So these people can now start their own family and sort of have children, and that will begin to grow our town. Got another labourer, which is good. So we'll probably put them immediately in the blacksmiths. There we go. And immediately we want you to start making iron tools. So take some iron, take some logs, get that sort of whole economy working, and then replace these tools that people have lost or broken through work. Now, do I go for the tailor or do I go for the... I need to... I'll unpause this very quickly while I decide, just so they're at least working on something. I've got 4 builders, and otherwise they'd all be sitting idle while I sort of made my mind up. See, this is why I like to keep things paused, but we can't just sit here looking at a still screen forever. That would be way too boring. So we've gone through basically another entire year here. We've still got 3 coats, so you know what? I think we can cope with... No, they've started working on it. I'll let them finish. No, I've got to make a decision. I can't sit here being this indecisive. Oh dear. So where are we? We want to put a road in here like that. Technically this will be a bit doubled up, but it's not the end of the world. And yeah, I'd rather they started creating coats before we completely run out, because if somebody doesn't have a nice warm coat during the winter, it means while they're outside working they'll get cold and they'll sort of stop what they're doing, go home, warm up, and then start again. So it'll actually really slow things down. Maybe even more than the tools, though I'm not sure about that. Of course, the other thing we can do with coats is if we've got a big surplus... Was that lightning, or was that just a weird glitch? No. But the other thing we can do if we've got a surplus of coats is later on we'll be able to trade them with people coming down here. And coats are very valuable. tools as well. Firewood is also another good trading product, just because it's obviously it's a sustainable industry, so you can just keep making and making and making more. And it sells for relatively, not huge amounts, but it's relatively profitable, and you can stockpile quite a lot of it very nicely. Right, if you guys, you have sort of gathered all of this stone, so I tell you what, let's collect this stone here as well, and we'll start collecting some of this iron. We've got quite a lot of iron stockpiled, but we are very low on stone again. In fact, that's probably why nothing's getting built. So we're not running that low on sort of available stone off the ground. There's still like stacks over here and over here, but it's getting close to sort of the available nearby things, and later on when we've cleared all of this, we are going to need to put down some quarries. But I think we've got plenty of time to deal with that later. Let's see. Okay, so the blacksmith has run out of tools, but what are you doing? Pause it quickly. There we go. You're going to get something to eat, okay. So your tool is broken as well, so you're going to work slower, but you have produced your very first set of tools, which is fantastic. So that'll go into the stockpile, somebody will come and collect it, and we'll get everything up and running again. Nice. Okay, so once you've finished sort of collecting stone and building that, 2 more stone, come on. One of you has to have 2 stone, there we go. Good, now this can start being... You're only carrying 1, really? We've only got the 1? Alright, it's fine, you're cutting some more. And there's some in the stockpile here, I think, so good. We'll get the tailor up and running. We'll get this house up and running, hopefully, as well. And again, we'll start growing our population. That's a point, actually. So we've got 400 food-ish, give or take. The limit's 5,000, but you know what? We never, ever, ever stop making food. We want, like... There's never ever going to be a circumstance where we're going to say, nope, that's plenty of food, we don't want any more than that, thanks. We always want to be generating food, so we'll remove that limit, and then hopefully this'll never ever cap out. Okay, so this is almost empty. So now might be a good time actually to remove this structure, just to stop everyone putting things in here. It will sort of give our blacksmith and our tailor a bit of a longer walk, but in the long run I think this is going to save us time, hopefully. Certainly when this is done, they'll just sort of come out and store everything here, so maybe I should wait until this is up and running. But it does take a lot of resources, and we haven't got that many houses around here yet, so meh. Might be a silly thing to do, but it'll be fine. So we actually have... So we've got 4 or 5 builders, but once this kicks in, some of them are going to be sort of idling. Or at least we're going to be overstaffed, so I'll start constructing this area up here, and in fact I'll put in a road, just so they've got some more... There we go, that'll do. That looks actually kind of wonky. Let's see, if we do that, and then... Oh, I've lost the end of the road now, there it is. There we go, that looks better to me. So we'll put that in, and hopefully that will give our builders a lot more, a bit of an easier commute, if you like. There we go, tailor's done. So we can put one of our labourers into a tailor. So there are 3 kinds of coats that we can make. We can make hide coats from leather, wool coats from wool, or warm coats from leather and wool. Well, we don't have any sources of wool right now. Maybe we could trade for some later, and ideally we want our own sort of sheep pastures, so we can start making really nice toasty warm coats. I don't know why you'd make wool coats instead of leather and wool coats, because... I mean, I guess if you start with sheep and you don't bother hunting, that'd be a thing. But I've never not had a hunter's cabin to start with, so we're always going to have leather. So we're going to start using that, and later on when we get wool, we'll make some nice warm coats as well. Okay, so I think that is going to be it for this episode. So we've sort of expanded on this. We've planned our little sort of first proper town area here, and we've also planned our second little forest community here. We still have a bit of a shortage on tools, and that's because I think they're stored in here, and none of the labourers have come to take them out yet. But that'll get fixed, that'll get resolved. We're certainly producing them now, which is going to be good. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.